Greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Got a StreamYard link down there for anybody who wants to join. So feel free to hop up. There's PayPal links in the details section for anybody that wants to share some love. And we are going to look at, let's see here. I guess I got to, there it is. We're going to look at a couple things tonight, one of which is we've got a issue with our friend Jack Talcott. And so we're going to take a look at a quick clip that I got today to kind of show you what kind of message he's spewing in his babble, his delusion, as he professes to be a child of God and tell you to come out of your imagination and love, and love God and do this and that. And we're going to show you what his real sense is as he speaks on panel today at his own broadcast. So are we getting audio? Somebody let me know. Freedom Grower says no audio. If that's the case, then we'll just, I don't know why. Have no idea why. It's right on the media player. It should be presenting sound just fine. So let's work around this. If we can find it here. Please bear with me. I really wish things weren't so damn hard here. What do we got here? We got, oh, this was from last night. My apologies. Last night. Let's see here. Maybe it wasn't. Okay. Well, I'll figure that out, and I'll get that clip, and we'll do that clip some other time. It's only a minute long, but basically what he's saying is, well, here, let me go back and get it quote verbatim. I think we need to make the choice to stop allowing God to work through us. I think we need to make the choice to stop allowing God to work through us. One more time. I think we need to make the choice to stop allowing God to work through us. This is a quote from Jack, and you can go look it up. It's in tonight's video, on his tonight's stream. And like I said, I will get that link and I will do the actual review on it so you can hear it. Don't have to just believe me. I will pull that link. And the premise here is the insanity of someone professing that they found God, and that their concept of finding God is that once they find him, they can turn around and just lay him down whenever they please. That they can prevent him from having anything to do with them. That they somehow can switch back and forth between God's will and their own will. That somehow they don't have to do anything except have expectations. So like I said, I will get that clip and we will review that. But the other one I've got tonight, I'll have to go through and do a different screen share then. Okay. The other one I've got tonight, remember Miss, what's her name from Dalton, Iowa? Mrs. Hendry or whatever her name is from Dalton, Iowa, the mayor. We've got some more problems over there in Dalton, Iowa with this mayor that thinks she has all this power. So we're going to watch this. It's 17 minutes. Mayor of Dalton blocks growth in Dalton. And again, the link is down there for anybody who wants to come up.
The mayor passionately spoke of her dedication to the community, even comparing herself to Jesus.
Because at the end of the day, they talked about Jesus Christ. So why don't I think y'all are not going to do me the same way? Somebody that's healing y'all and helping y'all. Same thing I'm over here doing, right? Healing and helping.
Yeah, healing and helping y'all. Healing and helping y'all. Charging the shit out of everybody and not doing anything but give it excuses. I don't call that healing and helping.
Her public persona may sparkle, but the truth hidden in the shadows speaks volumes. But amidst this rhetoric, another story emerges, one of tangible dedication and unwavering commitment. Meet Dr. Nicole Scott, the powerhouse behind the American Association of Single Parents, a nonprofit with a relentless drive to uplift the community. Dr. Scott invested in the potential of Dalton, purchasing the 83,000 square foot strip mall on 142nd and King Drive with a vision to revitalize the area, to create the ABBA Recreation and Resource Center. Yet despite her best efforts, progress stalls. Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her administrator Keith Freeman halts her plans, denying permits crucial for community growth and development.
My name is Dr. Nicole Scott, and I am the president and founder of American Association of Single Parents. We support the single parent community through charitable, social, and educational programs. We do that with the hope that they will become agents of change in their community. Part of our charitable assistance program, we have what's called the Free Indeed Market. I'm a woman of faith, and so everything that we do is connected to the Word of God. And so Free Indeed Market is a pantry. It's a client choice pantry, and it comes from the scripture found in John 8:36, who the Son sets free is free indeed. And so the market is called Free Indeed Market, where grocery shopping is literally 100% free. And so we are serving here in Dalton. We opened up in September 2021, and we've been serving here in Dalton at the market since then. And the space that we are in is about 5,500 square feet. But I clearly heard God tell me that you needed the entire building. And for those of you who don't know, this space is 83,000 square feet of space that we have been able to acquire in the village of Dalton. And with this space, we decided to create or establish the Abba Center. Abba meaning father. A father is supposed to protect, guide, and support his family. And we decided those are the kind of programming and services that we wanted to offer here in the village of Dalton. And with that, we had high hopes to be able to work with the current administration, Tiffany Henyard, and her administration over at the village of Dalton. However, since we closed on the property in June of 2023, we have not been able to do that. We have had meetings. I wrote a letter. We've made several attempts to really make this work. However, we're at a standstill. The Abba Recreation Resource Center was going to have a myriad of services for the community. For those who are...
But we can't do that. We can't have a myriad of services for the community that somebody's able to show the community that you can do those kind of things out of the kindness of your heart. Greetings, Iman. How you doing?
Greetings, good. Dalton, Illinois, the mayor?
Yep. Are you around that area?
No, I'm not. It's just, I thought you said Dalton, Iowa.
Oh, no, Dalton, Illinois. Dalton, Illinois, yeah. Yeah, we've done a review on her before, and she's one of those public officials that definitely needs to be ousted. She is terrible, and she is the epitome of the greed and gluttony that these people have, and the atrocious things that they will and are willing to do to people at the stroke of a pen.
Well, isn't she quite young to be in a position of that status?
Say that again?
Isn't she quite young to be in that position with minimal status, minimal knowledge?
Before, that's the same thing with these police officers that have a 6-month training to be a police officer, and they can do that straight out of high school. So you have these 19 and 20-year-old guys going out being police officers because they ain't got nothing else to do in life. They ain't never made any other plans, and that's a favorite position for them, is to have control over everybody else without having to have the education to do so. So it's a shame that we have young people in these offices doing these kind of jobs that do not have the experience firsthand to begin with. And this is what tells us all these jobs are nothing but a popularity contest. It's sickening.
Exactly. Because about 2 years ago in my travels, I saw that they had some young police officers. They had like one senior officer there, but all the rest beneath them were like 18, between the age of 18 to 20, and they had weapons on their hips. So yeah, it's really incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing what people will do, and the powers they will hand over to other people for their own convenience and comfort. And that's what they truly think it is. They think it's convenient and comfortable to put the weapons in 18, 19-year-old hands that know nothing about the law and say, okay, go out there and make people do what's right. They ain't even got the first experience in life of what's right and wrong.
That's like giving a 5-year-old a weapon and say, go out there and play Batman and Robin. I mean, not Batman and Robin, but cowboys and Indians.
Essentially, yeah.
For people who have small children and they want assistance with raising their children, financial literacy, a number of services that we know the community needs because they've told us. I know the mayor talks about how she wants to make progress. And initially, we wanted to do that with her. However, because of their interest in the property, there has not been any assistance for us. And
See, she acquired the property to help the community. Now this Henyard and the city commission and everything, they somehow deem now after this building is sat empty for I don't know how long, this lady comes along and acquires the whole building, and now all of a sudden they have an interest in the building. If they'd had an interest in the building, they should have moved on a long time ago. This is pathetic.
And so we're at a standstill. We have all this space to really build out and create a space that will put Dalton on the map. However, we are not getting permits. We are not receiving business license to open up our thrift store. And so those are the things that we need to move forward and to have a space for Dalton residents and really South Suburban Cook County.
Well, basically, Keith, it sounds like that woman, she doesn't have a lot of knowledge either, because if you can acquire a building, you don't need to be a resident of the county or the whatever, the city of Dalton, because, and then you don't need license and permit to even do any of that. So if they want to really run a business, just do it just like any.
Well, yeah, and that's part of the and that's part of the problem with the servitude that we have going on. So many people think that they've got to check with somebody else or get the permit or this and that. And if they really looked into it, really none of that stuff is required. It's a matter of volunteering. And again, like I've said in many of my videos, that there are certain qualifications that require you to be organized in a certain fashion in order to be able to commit to certain commercial venues. And yet here we are, we've got a society of a very large group of people that would not qualify in that commercial venue. So rather than give them a way to qualify or something like that, they automatically presume that they're involved in it and affix all of the pains and penalties of a corporate entity onto one single individual. And this really is the tipping of the scales. You can't treat an individual as a corporate entity, knowing that that individual doesn't know all the different things of all the different members of that corporate entity. See, that's the advantage of a corporate entity. Corporate entity has its own accountant that specializes in accounting, has its own attorney that specializes in legal, has its own author that specializes in grammar. It's got, all these different people that specialize in different perspectives of that business. And you can't expect that of one individual to be that well organized, particularly at the age of 18. Particularly without the proper education teaching him how to do that we do not have in the public school system. It's never been taught. They took civics out of school. They took a lot of things out of school.
Well, yeah, in the I think it was the early 80s or mid 80s, they took out civics and they took out where you can learn a trade, and they were just focusing on this, college prep thing. And it's more about just educating people under the premise that, you have continued education after you graduate from high school, this, secondary schooling.
Yeah, and most people don't get that. Very, very limited number of people get that. And then the people that do graduate high school, the average reading comprehension is still only about seventh or eighth grade. It's pathetic.
Well, yeah, because if the individual, but if the student doesn't put in its own energy and work into learning or teaching itself, basically you're just going to what they call rote learning, and you're just going through a memorization of whatever it is you
Memory.
taught, and then you have to, yeah, and then you have to, I forget the word, when you give back information, you know, what you memorize, and you repeat it back to someone, and then they call that, oh, you're doing well in school. Well, we know
Yeah.
what that's about.
Yeah, that's a large part of the problem is, and I hate, and I've said it before, I hate that it seems like the younger generations are walking out of high school and not picking up another book, not learning another thing, walking out thinking that they learned enough for their adulthood, and now they have everything they need to live the rest of their life, and it's so
Well, it's
sad.
no different. It is, and it's no different than college, because now we're having, students graduating, going on to college, getting supposedly a higher education. It's a 4-year institution that they have to go to for their secondary course of knowledge. And then on top of that, a lot of them are graduating and they don't know anything either, because they're being taught the same way prior to going into an extended education moving forward. And there's no different than, high schoolers graduating, coming out really with the same kind of background of course of
Yeah,
knowledge.
they just remembered more is all. They didn't learn anything
Yeah,
new. They just remembered more. They just got more information to remember, and that's not
right.
true knowledge.
Suburbs for
It's not.
this community. This is a food desert. This community is struggling right now with having resources accessible to the residents. If we do not get the necessary documentation from the village, like permits and business license to open up our thrift store, and we go ahead and just open up, one, that's wrong on our part. I'm trying to do things decent and in order. I don't believe in doing things under the table or wrong, you know. And so they will come over here and they will write tickets. My repairman for the roof, because the building that we have needs a lot of repair, but we are not even in a position to even do any repairs. The repair company for the roof was over to do an assessment and begin to fix the roofing issues, and he was given a $500 fine for just doing repairs. We had
But
a
it's only
dumpster out back when
financial.
we
All they're doing is putting them in a financial situation just to receive licensure to open up a business. It's just business practice.
Yeah, and did you hear they fined the repairman $500 for making repairs. That is not the intent of the law, folks.
No, it is not.
The intent of the law in fixing things so they are safe and operable isn't so that you can give somebody a fine for doing said fixing. That's just fucking stupid. And yet here we have full-grown adults, and those are the kinds of laws they're legislating and following. It's pathetic.
first closed on the property to just throw out garbage. And we were told that we could not have a dumpster out back to throw out garbage. We weren't doing any demo. We weren't doing any kind of construction. We were just throwing out trash. And we were told that we could not do that. And so we can't move forward. And I know that the hope and the goal is, if we don't open up the thrift store, if they don't give us the permit or the license to open up the thrift store, then that we will run out of money. They'll financially bankrupt us, and that we
Extortion,
will
extortion.
Absolutely, that is not the intent of the law, which is exactly what this lady is pointing out, and exactly what I-Man just said. It is, in fact, extortion. You cannot sit there and strangle an organization like this out of business by refusing to give its permits when you're the one that wants the building, and it's plain and obvious that you're restricting the permits so you can acquire said building after they already used their resources to acquire the building.
Yeah,
So it's just devastating to see that people would tear apart their own communities for their own popularity. Again, this is a Mrs. N. You're doing this for her popularity, and nothing else. Nothing else. This woman has shown that she has zero concern for the community. Zero.
Another profit and gain
Have
scheme. It sounds like insurance. It is. It's for insurance purposes.
Yep.
to, lose the building, or, they'll come in and they'll take it. So this space is going to be our thrift store. However, right now, all we can do is use it for storage. We were only able to demo it and pull up the flooring and things like that, because we have not been allowed to move forward with the renovation, because we are not allowed a business license or a permit to do that. And this space was intended to create financial stability for the organization, so that we could continue to serve the community at a greater capacity. I truly believe that the reason they are not allowing me to move forward is because they want this property. The current village administrator, Keith Freeman, was a part of a group that initially went in to purchase the property. Now, I have to go back and talk about me being a woman of faith. And when we initially started leasing this space, I was walking around in here getting ready to serve the community, and I clearly heard God say, "You need the entire building." And so, when you hear something like that and you feel it in your spirit, I immediately got nervous. So I went and got my pastor, and he went and got Keith Freeman and another gentleman. It was supposed to be the four of us who were going to go in together and purchase this property to do some really good work in the community. I thought that that was the way to go, but clearly it was not, because there was less communication with me about the dealings or what was going on with the property. And eventually, I spoke with Keith Freeman about it, and he says, well, the owners have so many things that they need to do with the property, so on and so forth. But the deal fell through. It didn't work. And I clearly, again, heard God tell me, that's not what I told you to do. So from that, the owners came back to me again and said, Dr. Scott, we would like for you to purchase the property. We see what you're doing in the community. We see your vision, and we really would like for you to have the property.
So basically, what I'm
Yep.
hearing her say, Keith, what I think I'm hearing her say is that the owners came to her like in a private uh, setting and say
Right.
what they would like her to do because they saw her vision. But because I think she's so believing within herself that she has to have permits, license, all these other things, that she could not begin this project without the consent of the city. And
Right. And
I
that's
believe
part of the problem. And that's part of the problem, because again, like we discussed the other night, these people have a right to sell because they were the
yes,
bona fide purchaser. So in that right to sell, they have a right to sell it to whoever they want. And what's happening is, it seems to me, I think you're absolutely right, that it seems to me that the city of Dalton is doing some manipulating here and causing financial stress for this organization because they want the building. And that's both violating this woman, the organization, the seller, and the community. And they're doing it all for their own greed. It's a property
right,
grab.
yeah, it sounds like that.
Want somebody that's ministry minded, that will, serve the community in that capacity. And I said, okay. And that's when the process started. It took us a year to get through it, but the owners wanted us to purchase the property. This space here, we're planning to expand the market so that we will be able to serve more people at one time. We'll have a larger shopping area to be able to serve more people in the community. This is the common area of the building. Over on this side of the building, we have a barbershop, a nail salon, and we want to bring in other retailers in this strip mall. We are looking at bringing in a credit union that will teach the community members who want to do business there, financial literacy if they want it, how to save, those types of programming we want to establish here. Because we are not getting permits, and if anybody goes over to apply for an application to lease space over here, to start a business or put their business here, it's denied. So Habakkuk 2:2. Again, I told you I'm a woman of faith, and so everything here is tied to the Bible.
I was listening to a gentleman earlier today. I listened to him in the past, and he just popped up on my phone today. And I think everything that occurs really for me is just spiritual when it occurs. And what he was saying is that when we are calling ourselves buyers and sellers, the buyers and sellers, those words, I know you and I know that it's commercial terms, but basically what he was saying or explaining is that the buyers and selling is really the paperwork, the collateral.
Yes, it's the documentation. The name on the paper is the buyer or the seller. It is not the man himself. Everything has to be done. Everything in the commercial realm has to be done through person. You cannot do it yourself. It has to be done through person. So there has to be some kind of paper trail. That paper trail is a chain of title. That's all it is.
Right. And so this is where I think the breakdown in the knowledge of trying to acquire a business, you know, when you're a common man or woman and you don't really know because of the educational system, and then you're just going along with what you believe because, you know, this is what you were taught that how you are supposed to operate in the commercial realm. So they're giving you a premise of letting you know that, you know, this is how you operate, but then they're not teaching those things. So now they're commingling. People are commingling because they're practicing one thing and the other they don't really know. They're just going by what they believe they see, and it goes on as far as acquiring and doing a business. So it's
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I speak on that all the time. Folks, you got to keep your privacy private. The first thing you do when you put it in public is destroy it.
Exactly.
Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it.
And it seems here, like I was wanting to say, there's again with the permits, when this woman is wanting to use this entire building and build an organizational program for the community and invite people that would be helpful for managing the lower income by teaching them how to run their finances, by giving them that financial literacy and stuff like she was talking about, and they're refusing them permits to move in too.
Right, so, and the thing I gather is that
it's clearly biased. It's clearly biased.
Yeah. You can see it. You can blatantly see it. And the thing is, what I also hear her say, you know, they don't really have the funding because so much of it went into acquiring the building, and it took about a year. And the other thing that I'm thinking, if it's for the community, why not invite the community, people who have the skills that can help her build out what is needed for the community? Because it's like working a job, right? And everybody up in management, they send down all these rules and regulations, but it's always the people on the front line who knows best on how to work, you know, the operations.
Yep, absolutely.
Get plain, so that men will take it and run with it. And so this entire wing is dedicated to nonprofit organizations that may not have brick and mortar, that need a facility to service their clients. You know, a lot of times people start organizations because it's their calling, it's their duty, it's their mark on life. And this will be a space where they can start to grow and develop and make those things happen, not just for
I'm gonna
them,
mute.
but for the community as a whole. When earlier this year, I tried to have our roofing company come out to patch the area, but he was given a $500 fine for trying to do repairs. And
Yeah, and see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this is a vacant building prior to this woman coming there, and this is one of the things I want to point out. This is a liability on the city as a vacant building. Now she comes in and she purchases the building. Now it's a liability for her, and they're negating her ability to lessen her liability. They're saying you cannot, we're not going to allow you to decrease your liability. Not only that, but in that liability, we are now going to let nature take its course and extend that liability in a greater stance, because they're going to let the building leak and get destroyed by nature when it can and should be fixed, and under their own laws of abandonment, it either gets fixed or gets torn down if there's no appropriate use. The appropriate use is there, so they can't just tear it down. They have to use the valuable consideration that's there and existing, and this is the violation of their idiocy. They don't understand how to get along and play well with the others in the sandbox.
so these are the things that we have to deal with, because we are not able to get the permits that we need to begin the repair process for this facility. It's really unbelievable what we could do with this facility.
It's a huge
And
facility,
so
guys.
this space used to be a banquet hall. And this is exactly what we would like to do. We would like to revitalize this facility, this space, so that we could bring that thriving community back. The gatherings, the conferences, the business meetings, the weddings. We want to be able to do that in the city of Dalton rather than take those dollars to other communities. We want to be able to have those celebrations right here. And so this is a large space. It definitely needs a lot of repairs, which we're trying to do, but we have not been able to make progress. Here we have our recreation space, or
She's doing a good job at keeping the words minimal and not saying the things I would have. You know, I'd have been straight up letting them know that the actions or inactions of the city council, good and bad. I wouldn't be light about this. This is an egregious abuse, folks. I mean, again, I speak about these cities being concrete scabs upon the earth. And instead of letting somebody use it appropriately, they're willing to squabble over it and let it remain a scab. And in the end, it's probably going to remain a scab for a long time before anybody actually makes use of it again. If they don't let this go through, it'll likely be a long time before it gets made proper use of. You can see the entire building is vacant, and nobody's made proper use of it in a long time already. The fuck is wrong with these people? This is a very strange and odd mentality to me.
at least what we want to be our recreation space, really our multi-purpose space, where we could do a number of community projects, events, things like that, where the community could come together. Instead of going elsewhere to in other cities and towns to have their events, they could do them right here. And then also with our multi-purpose space, the goal is to bring our education programs, ACE. ACE stands for Academics Creating Excellence, which is our before and after school program. We plan to bring that down here into this space over here. There are bathrooms along this wall. And this will become part of our educational programs along with 2 other classrooms. But as you can see, everything needs repairs, but we're not able to do that because of the holdup with our permits to do the repairs and renovations.
I'm grateful that Dr. Scott wants to be a part of the Dalton community. The services they're providing are desperately needed, which is demonstrated by the 12,000 people that she's already serviced. So what I'm seeing right now is really a tragedy that we can't open something that helps our community, helps our people, and really would beautify downtown Dalton and do it in the right way. I think it's shameful that this administration would do things to prevent businesses like this from coming in our community. We really need to work together, partner. The Board of Trustees and myself are going to do everything we can to make sure this business is open for Dalton residents.
And so the purpose of me doing this video is not to slam Mayor Henyard. I don't wish anybody over there any ill will, but what I do want to do is get a response. I need an answer.
I'm inclined to, I'll let everybody know, I want her out of office. And it ain't even my neighborhood. I ain't never even voted. I ain't never registered to vote. But for your own good, I want her out of office. This is just blatant, just tyranny. Just tyranny. I don't understand how people think that they can keep voting people like this into office.
Because nothing has been said to us as to why we're getting pushback. You would think that this is an easy win. You know, this is something that would be in Dalton that ultimately would make their administration look good. But we're getting the pushback. And so I just want a response. I just want to know why we're not getting the assistance that we need to.
Yeah, it would most certainly help their administration look good. I mean, anytime you have somebody willing to come into a community and provide all kinds of community programs at the behest of their own funding and resources and stuff, without having to put it as a budgetary expense on the city, then that would be an amazing thing. And yet, this is what they get is a pushback or neglect or ignorance. They ignore her in her request for permits and stuff to get things going, knowing that it would be good for the community. These people ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Move forward to make progress that she always talks about. This is good progress. We're not serving liquor. We're here to create a hub of resources and services for the community that would support the community at a greater capacity. And so we just want to know why we're not getting the support that we should. I really believe.
And I think that's a very, very fair question. Very fair question. You know, again, if it's going to be good for the community and everything, then it would be at the behest of the city to go ahead and move on it and get it going. Instead, not only are they not moving on it, but they're finding people for doing repairs, and the repairs that they're finding them to do are repairs that are needed in order to lessen the liabilities. So this administration is totally inept, incompetent, negligent, ignorant, whatever. They should not be there, any of them. If one woman is doing this stuff, then you would think the rest of the community somewhere would be able to come together and get rid of her. And yet here she is, still in office a year later. And we're not talking a little petty shit. We're talking about major bills and stuff and major discrepancies in accounting. And the fact that she's refusing to turn over certain receipts when she was herself, while a trustee on the very same council, demanding that the mayor bring forth the receipts so that the trustees could manage the budget. the very same trick that she's pulling on these people and saying, well, I don't have those receipts. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You're the one that went and did all the spending, and here they are. So it's a matter of the blatant tyranny. I'm going to call it blatant tyranny.
That the reason this is happening is because they want me to lose the property. They want me to not be able to pay the taxes or pay the bills and lose the property. I truly believe what God has for you is for you. What God has for me is for me. And it was clearly meant for our organization to own this property so we could do what we are wanting to do or attempting to do in the community. However, the goal for the administration, we believe, is to starve us out so that we will lose the property and they can come in and just take it. But
And that's a very good point. Again, that's what these people that think they have control like this do. And it's because you give them that kind of control by not knowing how this stuff should work yourself and not enforcing it yourself by saying up front, hey, no, this isn't going to happen. No, 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 no. You get your ass out of the office then, because that isn't what the mayor's office does to the people in the community. They don't go around highfalutin and acting like they're the king and the people no longer make any difference and they're going to go get themselves a new carriage and new clothes and new house and this. No, that's not what the mayor does. What happens is the people are supposed to stand up like big boys and girls and say, listen, we know how to govern and we know that what you're doing is wrong. And we know that we're the ones that actually hired you to get paid in that office while you're supposed to be governing. And again, we know we don't want to pay somebody for fucking us. So get your fucking ass on down the road. We don't need you anymore. But they refuse to do that because it's convenient. Because it's convenient to have somebody in control. Because if they did do that, one of them would have to step up and replace. This is something I spoke about earlier when we go through this history and find out that not one government in the entire history of mankind has ever been successful. Every last one of them has turned as despotic against its own people. Every last one. Go ahead.
Well, see, the thing is, too, Keith, is that if she would rally the community behind her, but then we still have people who are mentally asleep, and the ones who are awake, they're not really in close proximity. And if she doesn't really overstand everything on how
Yeah, we lost her. Yep, we lost her again. She must be having a hard time with her signal. But yeah, she can get the same people she assisted and serviced, meaning 12,000 people to sign the petition. That's damn right. And that's what she should be doing.
at this point, that's not going to happen. If you want to support us to help us keep our doors open while we are waiting for the administration to get on board to,
And there I go, speaking all that time and never even it wasn't even heard. So it goes to the premise that the city didn't have its grubby hands involved in it first. The building was sitting vacant, and then somebody came along and to get the building in the condition that it was, and by the person that or the organization that got it, nonprofit, community-based and oriented. And so it would be a risk management decision that would have to go through the very risk management office of the mayor and everything. So they had their hands in it, in the decision making, and allowed these people to get into this building. And now they're specifically restricting them. And that is literally going to kill this organization. That's what these kind of people do. They will starve people out. Like she said earlier, that's what it kind of felt like. She was being starved out. And we have to remember, folks, you had the power to put these people in the office. Don't let them get there, sit there and try to get away with, well, you put me in office, I'm here until the full term. No, you can remove these people from office anytime, particularly if they're committing treason and sedition. And I'm going to say that's exactly what this woman is doing. If you've seen her history, I call it treason and sedition. I can't charge her with that because I'm not a corporate entity, and I really don't give a fuck. But in the end, it's all about greed and gluttony. And if you really want to prove that you're not part of that greed and gluttony, you get rid of the monetary system. You show them how you can govern yourself. You go back out there to your nature, and you start doing what nature tells you to do. Now, granted, we're here in 2023 with all these modern mechanizations and technology and everything, and that's never going to happen. There are some people that can do that, but in the essence of it all, it's a matter of realizing that the position that you're in now, only you can change, and you can only change that by learning how to stand up and do shit yourself, no matter what it is. If it's your own banking, if it's your own tutoring, if it's your own learning, whatever, you need to start doing this shit and get up off that couch, quit watching that boob tube of everybody else's dramatic or comedic life or whatever, and eating all the processed foods and drinking all the poison. You got to stop it. That's what's killing you. That's your choice. So with that, folks, we're out of here. Remember, I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. And while we're here tonight, I'll explain that. Because, see, I love you. I don't hate you. And in me not giving a rat's ass whether you love me back or not means that I don't care if you hate me or not. My duty still is that I love you. So I'm going to keep loving you. And it might be a tough love. And that's why I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back or not. I'm going to tell you like it is, the way I see it, the way I think you need it. Because I think we're all big boys and girls, and I think we can all handle it. I think we can all see reasonably that it's not an attack. It's a smack on the face to wake you up and get you to quit acting like a fucking idiot. So may God bless you, and have a good night.